Today we're going to talk about a movie, While You Were Sleeping, starring Sandra Bullock. The movie starts with a voiceover, and we see Sandra Bullock as a child with her dad. And her dad told her he knew he loved his wife, her mom, when she gave him the world, which isn't really the world, it's a globe. Then you realize that her dad is dead and she doesn't have any family left. Sandra Bullock is living in Chicago, where I live. She worked at an L train station collecting tokens. We don't actually use tokens anymore, so I can't relate to that. Every day she sees Peter Gallagher, whose character is maybe Peter. I think his name is Peter. Peter. And she is in love with him from afar. She doesn't know anything about him. I can relate to this. Walking down the street in a coffee shop and seeing guys, I'm like, oh, you could be my boyfriend. It might be a little stalkery, but who cares? The next thing we see is Sandra Bullock is at her apartment. She is sad and lonely. She has a cat. She dips her Oreos into the cat milk. It just shows you how sad her life is. Plot really gets going when Peter is trying to catch the train. It's a holiday. It's Thanksgiving. Sandra Bullock is on duty because she doesn't have any family. Peter is being messed with by some hoodlums. Just loses his balance and he falls into the tracks. Oh my gosh. Sandra Bullock runs to his aid. Train is coming. It's a very intense moment right here. He's unconscious, so she jumps on the tracks and she rolls over and she saves his life. Then she goes to the hospital and she just says to herself, I was going to marry that man. Again, I can relate to this because I have these thoughts about lots of guys. Maybe he could have been my husband. Anyway, a nurse overhears this. Still in a coma, by the way. So she's in there, she's talking to him. He's a stranger, but she's in love with him. Then his whole family comes in. His mother, his father, his grandmother, sister, and godfather. The nurse says, oh, well, she's his fiance. And they're all like, fiance. And Sandra Bullock, instead of saying, no, I'm not his fiance, she kind of goes along with it. She confronts the nurse. Oh my gosh, why did you tell him I was his fiance? And the nurse said, I overheard you say this thing because you're a crazy stalker. Sandra Bullock is like, oh my gosh, that's not true. I'll go tell them. And then she doesn't tell them. I don't remember why. She goes over to their house the next day for Thanksgiving. Or is it Christmas? I think it's actually Christmas. She celebrates Christmas with them. They give her a present and they all laugh and funny and grandma's a little woo. Early the next morning, door opens. It's another brother. His name is Jack, played by Bill Pullman. He's like, who is Lucy? Sandra Bullock's character's name. She's like, oh, well, that's Peter's fiance. Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman have this awkward meeting on the stairs and there are sparks. You can see the sparks in their eyes. Peter Gallagher is still in a coma. Sandra Bullock is still going to visit him with the family. This is just something a crazy woman would do. Wouldn't you just speak up and say, well, I don't actually know your son? At the hospital, somebody gives her a box of Peter's belongings and he says, oh, hey, these are your fiance's things. Oh, maybe she is trying to tell people because she's like, not my fiance. Or when she gets into elevator, there's this guy that knows Peter and he tells her this story about a basketball game and a pencil. I don't know what that's about yet. Bill Pullman delivers a piece of furniture to Lucy as a wedding present. Oh, right. That's what I forgot. She finds cat food in Peter's things, so she goes to Peter's apartment to feed the cat. Because she's a cat lady, she feels for the cat. That's when she sees Jack, Bill Pullman. You also see a beautiful rocking chair in the delivery truck, and Jack has made this with his bare hands because, of course, it's a romantic comedy and we need a leading man who does something artistic and macho at the same time. Jack is very suspicious. Who is this girl? It's all very strange. And so to prove she is Peter's fiance, she tells the story that she heard on the elevator, remember, and you find out that one of his testicles, Peter's testicles, by the way, was burst by a pencil. The other has to stick her hand under the sheet because Peter Gallagher is still in a coma to see if he only has one ball or two. He only has one, so now they all believe Lucy. At some point, the godfather realizes that she is not actually the fiance, and he convinces her to continue this lie. Grandma has a heart condition. We are not telling anybody that she's not the fiance because we think that's going to give Grandma a heart attack. Lucy, Sandra Bullock, is starting to fall in love with Bill Pullman. They're trying to walk on the ice to get to her apartment, and they grab each other, and it's like, oh, stars in their eyes. And then they both fall on the ground, and it's like, ouch, our asses hurt. At some point, we have heard a voicemail, not voicemail, it's like an old school answering machine from Peter's girlfriend, Ashley, and she says, yes, I'll marry you. So now you know things are going to get complicated. Oh, right. Then Peter wakes up and they have Sandra Bullock there in the room and he's looking around. You're my mom, you're my dad. And he looks at Sandra Bullock and he says, oh, who are you? Everyone says, he has amnesia. Paul convinces Peter that he's in love with Sandra Bullock and that he should actually marry her because that's not insane. Anywho, Ashley shows up and Peter's like, oh yeah, I was supposed to marry her. She doesn't really matter anymore. Peter Gallagher actually proposes to Sandra Bullock. They're going to go to Italy with their honeymoon. And Jack comes over and gives her an early wedding present, which is a snow globe. And it has Florence in it, Florence, Italy, where she wants to go. And of course, you're supposed to remember, remember her dad knew he was in love when he got the globe, pieces are falling together. For some reason, she and Peter can't wait to get married in a real church. They're getting married in the hospital. In typical romantic comedy fashion, they barely start the ceremony, and Sandra Bullock says, wait, I can't, I object, this can't go on any further. And then Jack, Bill Pullman, he says he objects too. She does this big monologue in front of a whole room of people where she says, I'm sorry, I didn't actually know him, but you're a great family, and I'm actually in love with Jack. And everybody's upset. It gets crazy, and everybody starts yelling at each other. So then Sandra Bullock leaves. I guess her life is just supposed to go back to normal. Now she's back to sad single life again. She's working at the train station one day, and she's counting the tokens. A diamond ring falls in, and you're like, what? And then the camera comes up, and Bill Pullman in the window, surrounded by his family members. And it's so sweet, and the grandma's there, and it just gives you the warm fuzzies. But comes in, and he asks her to marry him, and she says yes. And then the last shot of the movie is them going away on a train. Pretty sure they would not let you do. She gets to go to Florence, and she's in love with him, and it doesn't even matter that she was in love with his brother from afar, pretended to be his fiance. I don't know. It's very strange and yet sweet and heartwarming at the same time. A great movie. Lots of laughs. Sandra Bullock is very charming. Yay! This one's for you.